Good morning. So, I know I'm super late. I was supposed to do this Friday. This has been a very hectic weekend. I got a bump on my nose, but yeah. But this has been a very hectic weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday I was super busy. I'm not gonna lie, I was super busy. And I wanted to come on here and do these, but by the time I was like, it's too late, I'll do it tomorrow. So today, I'm doing 2 videos. I'm finna do the recap from last week, and then I'm gonna do what is it called? The weekly breakdown for this week. So I'm gonna do this video, end it, do another video, and end it, just so I can stay on track. All right, so look, so I'm gonna go through this very quickly. So this, like last week, we talked about I forgive you. So the picture that I chose was, hold on, let me blow this up a little bit. So the particular picture that I chose was, I think the first step is to understanding that forgiveness does not exonerate the persecutor. Forgiveness liberates the victim. It's a gift you give yourself. So the scripture I have is Ephesians 4:31 through 32. The NIV version, get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of spitefulness. Be kind and compassionate to one another. Forgive each other just as Christ God forgave you. So the question I ask is, why do we forgive? I list 3 reasons. The first reason is to set ourselves free of bondage of anger, rage, bitterness, etc. that we deal with concerning that situation. Number 2 is so that we can stop living in the past. And number 3, a lot of times in life, it's not that we can't forgive them. We can't forgive ourselves for allowing them to do what they did to us. That's where the anger comes from. The biggest takeaway that I have from this thing when it comes to forgiveness that a lot of people seem to look over is, you as a Christian, our whole belief system works on forgiveness. Like, just imagine the worst thing you did in life, God didn't forgive you for that. And every time you tried to go forward in life, he hung it over your head. That's what we do as people. We try to place people on a pedestal where we want people to be perfect, but we first understand we're not perfect. So we're not perfect, but we require other people to be perfect. Now, I'm not saying that in the sense that nobody, is gonna, not mess up and stuff like that, and we shouldn't, look beyond that. But at the end of the day, people are going to make mistakes. Why? For one, people have to learn. For 2, what you consider a mistake may not be a mistake to that person. What you look at as being negative may be a positive to that person. So when it comes to you and wrongdoing to other people, it's all about your own perception of life. So I'm not saying that to cover up, because I've made some mistakes. But like I always say, I don't look at the things that I did as mistakes because I don't feel bad about doing them. Like, I feel bad that it happened with that individual, but I don't, because of the blessings that I received from that and the blessings that that individual received from that as well. But it would never happen had I not did this or had they not done that. So one of the biggest things that I want you to realize is, the biggest grudge you holding over somebody, what if God held a big grudge over you using that same energy you give other people? So that's why they always say, like, treat people how you want to be treated. Like, you don't want nobody to just, every time you're trying to do better in life. That's just like when you have a person that used to be a drug addict or an alcoholic or something. And it's just like, you'll meet a person and then you're like, oh man, I remember you used to be a drug addict, now you're doing good. And like, it's like every time you meet that person, they always reminding you of where you were. They always do that. Like, for me, like, I always meet a person like, oh man, I remember you was young, you used to do this and this and that. It just get to a point where people just understand, like, that's who you were. And a lot of times people can't believe how far you've grown and come in life, so they have to constantly remind you of where you came from, because they don't believe where you came from. They don't believe that you made it out of the situation. So as a result, they kind of want to hang that over your head. Just don't center yourself around that. I'm not saying, like, and I think, like, a lot of times when people hear, like, remove yourself from around people, like, we think of that in a negative sense. No, you have to protect yourself at all costs. Just because you remove yourself from around a person, it doesn't have to be negative. You can just stop talking to them. And then if they ask what happened, I just tell them like, hey, I'm on this particular journey in life. I feel like every time I do something or every time I'm trying to move forward with something in life, I feel like you personally hinder me. I feel like you're not adding to my life. I feel like you're taking away from my life. And as a result, I choose to remove myself. Now, however, if you choose to add to my life, I have no problem with adding you back. But, you know, I'm on this journey of being loving to myself. And you attacking me is not me loving myself. It's just that simple. And you don't have to be all negative, like, oh, I cut you off because of yada yada. No, you ain't got to do all that. It doesn't take all of that type of negative energy because if you come off negative, it's now a negative situation. If you come off positive, it is a positive situation. But it's the cause and effect. Whatever you put into a situation, you're going to get in return. So if you come off as being negative or you come off as this person feel like you're attacking them, it's going to come off as negative. So it's going to turn into a negative situation. But if you come off caring, kind, and compassionate and speak to them to the best of your ability and as humbly as you know how, it's going to be a positive situation. Even if they don't take it in a positive sense, you know it came from a positive place in your heart. And that's all that matters. So the biggest thing from this, forgive people. Forgive. Forgive yourself. Like I said, forgiveness is a selfish thing. It's very selfish. It's all about you. It's all about yourself. You're forgiving that person because you want to heal yourself. You're not forgiving that person so they can move on and feel better about themselves. No, because you have no control on that. You could tell them you forget them all day and they still feel bad about what they did. You got no control over that. So at the end of the day, forgive yourself. Forgive other people. You know, people gonna do wrong every day. Forgive them. You know, we all learning. It's all a learning curve. You know, everybody, is going through life and everybody is healing. You know, like the biggest thing is also number two, like stop living in the past. That's another reason why we can't forgive. Like I said it, like a lot of times when it comes to forgiveness, we don't even remember why we're angry with a person. We just know we're angry. That's childish. Like you literally over time have came up with new reasons as to why you mad, and then when you sit down and think like, what's the original reason why I got mad at you in the first place? You can't even think of one. But what you're trying to do is everything that this person do that you see as, that you deem as negative, you charge that against them. And as a result, you're adding fuel to the reason of why you can't forgive them or why you dislike them. When it all boils down to what was the original reason that led to all of this hatred and bitterness towards this individual. I don't remember. Chances are you don't need to be feeling that way towards that person. So as a result, just forgive them. That is just that simple. Just forgive them. Forgive them for yourself. Don't do it for the other person. I mean, I didn't have people that mistreated me that like most people would be like, oh, I'll never talk to them again. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. People gonna be people. I forgive them and then I just keep you at arm's length. You know, that's just how I am. You know, I don't hang grudges. Like, and I'm the type of person, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm very extreme when it comes to emotions. Like, I'm either like super nice or I'm super mean. Like, it's no in between for me. I've never been an in between person. It's either you get all or nothing. That's just how I am as a person. So one of the things that I want y'all to realize is like, just forgive people, because the whole purpose of you believing in God came about through forgiveness. Like, really, that's the whole purpose. Like, literally, you go out and do what you want to do, and you have self-will, and you make mistakes. What if we didn't have the ability to be forgiven by God? You know, what if God didn't forgive us? So that's one of the ways that I look at situation when it comes to forgiveness. It's like, I look at like, okay, if I was to do this to God and he didn't forgive me, where would I be in life? You know, and us as people, we just look at humans as like, oh, that's just a person, but this is God. Like, they're not the same. But it's just like if man is made in God's, you know, so it's just like, you know, treat his people like you would treat him. It's just that simple. You know, like you wouldn't talk down on him. Why talk down on his people? Uplift people. It takes more energy to, you know, talk down on a person than it does to uplift a person. Even if you don't believe a person can do something, still just tell them, like, I believe you can do this. Even in the back of your mind, you're like, there's no way. Still believe them. Because that little encouragement you gave them could be the spark on the idea that they got, and it take off. And you never know. A little size of a mustard seed. That's all the faith you need. So that's it for the recap. So I'm about to pray in this video, and I'm gonna start another video. So God, I come to you this morning to say thank you for allowing us to come together and break down this concept. I ask as we go through this week and as we continue life itself, you continue to help us understand the concept of forgiveness. I ask that you come into our hearts and in the situations that we feel it's not fit to forgive a person on. I ask that you do work in that particular area so that we become better people in life. I ask that this Monday be the best day we have ever had in our life, and I ask that each day gets better and better as we continue to live. As we continue to live. So I ask all the goals that we have set, you give us the strength and energy to make sure that we can accomplish them, especially for the tasks that we have set for the day, this week, this month, and this year. And these been a blessing. I ask your person in Jesus' name, amen. So I'm about to end this video, save it, and I'm gonna start another video. Make sure you do the daily tasks. I'm still working on them. Like I said, we only have 15. Well, we still have 15. I'm not adding them. I'm in the process of putting them into categories so that we can do a category I don't know. We're going to do categories every day. I'm still working the kinks out of it. But, yeah. I'm trying to think. Is there something else? I don't think. Because this all information from last week. And then I got to cover this week. Okay, yeah. So, have a great day. So for all the people that's watching this now, just stay tuned because I'm literally about to end and start another one. Have a great day, I guess you could say, until 5 minutes from now. Peace.